Oh, Rhys with a Y. We're on.
We're on. Yeah, the amount of people that spell my name REECE is fucking ridiculous.
You ever get REESE?
A little bit, but I've got a friend as well that spelled RHYSE with an E on the end. So it's my name with an E on the end.
Get rid of him.
Her.
Her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Oh.
it's annoying. It's annoying, trust me, because we were in the same year in school, and it was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like,
Yeah, 92 must have been the year of Jake's, hey? Because I always had another Jake in the class.
well, that was the only race I knew from my year group, so I reckon we were quite like sort of random.
Listen,
rare.
it's you and me, all right?
Yeah. You listen here, eh? But yeah, so yeah, that was it for us. Just us two races. But yeah, I cop REECE, REESE all the time, but I never get RHYS.
And now you're a fucking Crawf.
That's it. I don't even
Flat out
go by
Crawf.
race at all. Like we were talking about yesterday at the coffee shop. George is speaking to me, speaking about me on a message, but he wrote Rhys. I'm like, who the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Even I say that now. Like, who is it? Like, no one calls me Rhys at footy.
Yeah.
At my mates, no one. Like my mum. That's it.
Yeah.
My mum, and that's pretty much it.
So if you hear Rhys, you're like, I probably am in trouble.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Rhys William. I'm in trouble.
What, is William your middle name?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I'm in trouble if it's Rhys William.
Rhys William.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
shit.
That's my
Rhys William, get it!
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that's my pop's middle name as well. So I just got it from my pop.
Yeah.
But yeah. When you hear the William,
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, fuck, I'll just start tensing the ass ready for the belt, you know?
pretty much. Yeah. That was a lot when I was younger too.
Yeah.
I wasn't the greatest kid.
Yeah, I feel like you and I got a similar sort of disciplined upbringing in a way. You know how, like, I don't know, this is probably something that I don't verbalized, I guess, but when I like think about how the feeling comes about, you know, you can tell people that were brought up on the same advice.
Yeah.
You know, they were brought up by the same mentality of their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely. I reckon I've got that like 100%. Like I reckon, even though my dad wasn't around, like in a man-to-man way, like I feel like my mum's put me through all of his values, and I've sort of created a path through his values, if you know what I mean. Like the amount of people that were friends with my old boy were like fuck you are a spitting image, like you've same values, all that sort of stuff. And I said you can't blame me. Like you can't say it's me. You got to take that up with my mum.
Yeah. Do you mind talking about your dad?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, mate. I'm a.
How old were you when he passed away?
I was 4. Yeah, I was 4 years old. So I'm not 100% on the exact road, but I turned 4 in August, late August. And around that time, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Wild.
In 2002. And they pretty much told him that he wouldn't make it to Chrissy. So,
wow.
Yeah, being he caught it late, so he was already, I don't actually know the name of the cancer, but it was a quick killer.
Yeah. Was it like a lung cancer or?
Yeah, I think it was something to do with the lungs and just, I think it just caught him all over. I think it started in the lungs, but then just went through his whole body.
Yeah, like, that's the normal bloody trajectory of lung cancer, eh?
Like my mum reckons, she told me a story. They were in bed one morning, and all of a sudden he felt like Pac-Man was chewing up from toes to his back, and that was the exact moment he became paralysed from the waist down.
Really?
The cancer wrapped around his spinal cord.
Wow.
So he was in a wheelchair for the last probably, I want to say month and a half, maybe 2 months of his life.
What an interesting sensation to have.
Yeah. He didn't really, obviously, he didn't have any like sort of idea. Like he's sort of like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then he's figured it out, obviously, that he's become paralysed. But like, from what I've heard, you know, when my dad was 45 when he passed away, he had such a fulfilling life for 35 years. So like, as much as it's a sad thing not to have him around and not to have that father figure.
Yeah.
Pretty fortunate with my old duck, who not only had to look after me, but had to look after, I'm the youngest of 5.
Hectic.
Yeah, 5 boys.
Yeah.
So she played a role with the 3 older ones that are a different mum.
Yeah.
The 2 younger ones, me and my brother Flash, we are to my mum, and the other ones it's to the other mum. But my mum still played a role in the older 3's life as well. So like, it's a credit to my mum as well. Like,
how old's your oldest brother?
He would have been 40, give or take a year or two, 43 this year. He passed away in 2020. 21.
Wow, yeah, so fairly recent.
Yeah, only a few years ago. He
So how old are you?
I'm 26.
That's a big jump between
you
and older brother, and Flash is a couple of years younger than you.
Flash is older. I'm the youngest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Flash is 32.
My age,
93. Yeah. 93 he's born.
Yeah, so my age.
Yeah. So,
a year younger, sorry.
Yeah, so he's May 93.
Yeah.
Luke's 84. Brody's 87.
Yeah. And do you have much to do with all of your brothers?
Yes and no, not really. Currently at the moment, 2 of my brothers are in jail.
Okay.
And the other ones, the oldest has passed away. And,
right. So that leaves one.
Yeah, so that leaves one. And we have a relationship, but we're just in different parts of our lives. You know what I mean? He's got 6 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got 6 kids, and he lives up in Perth. And like, I'm doing my own thing down here. Like, I'm working and sort of like keeping busy. So, and he's doing the same. You know what I mean? So like, we just have that. Like, we're definitely brothers, but we have more of that like mate.
I think
sort
that's
of relationship.
Fairly typical progression as you get older. I mean, I'm an only child. I don't know, but at the same time, it feels like you get past that. I don't know. From the sounds of it, you do everything together up until like 15, and then 15 to 25, you do like all the sort of learning off each other, rather than with each other, and then past that, it's sort of like you do the big bubble away from each other, and then your mates. Yeah, you've got all this backlog of story.
Oh yeah, heaps. Like we can yarn for hours. You know what I mean? Like I was only super young when we weren't really together a lot after my dad passed away. Dad was kind of like the glue, because obviously he was the relationship between both. Yeah, between both of the siblings. I think we were still close. You know what I mean? Like I still saw them a lot and stuff like that. And my oldest brother had a kid around the same time I was born. So like, so she's my oldest niece. Yeah, she's 25 She's 26 this year.
She'd almost feel more akin to a sister than a niece.
Yeah, to a degree, but they moved over east early days, so I don't really have much of a relation.
Is she Geelong?
No, she moved back to my former sister-in-law. They moved back to their hometown in Queensland, so they were in Queensland. Yeah, but yeah, my old boy was born in Geelong. Yeah, and they moved over. My old boy moved over when he was probably in his 30s, I think it would have been, 20s, 30s. Yeah, so my grandparents moved to Broome. No, where did they move? Kalbarri. Oh, yeah. Moved to Kalbarri. Yeah. My pop started the surf lifesaving in Kalbarri. Yeah. That
would have almost been like a semi-retirement move, Kalbarri.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then like all of my family, like all my older brothers and stuff, they're Margaret River based, so they've always been Margaret River based. So yeah, so like we're always down there. I've still got a really good relationship with my brother's mum. Yep. She's my Kazma. Her name's Karen, but she's my Kazma. You know what I mean? So we have a really good relationship still. So it's awesome to have that type thing. But and like she's an awesome lady. She visits my brothers in jail all the time. You know what I mean? Like all the time. Like I probably don't have I probably haven't done it enough. You know what I mean? And I look at someone like Kazma going, wow, like she's like just putting the effort in. You know what I mean? Like
that's like I've never been in a position where I've had a close family member in jail, and I don't think either a distant, not that I know of. They've all got it in them, you know.
Oh,
but
yeah.
What's that feeling like? Like, I mean, there'd almost be like a guilt or something to go and see them, you know.
Yeah, like a little bit. Like I think from a young age, like I've sort of seen trajectory with it all. Like my dad passed away in 2002, and then not long after that, my oldest brother, who's since passed, he went into jail.
Yeah.
And he was in and out for a few years. So out of all my brothers, like 4 brothers, 3 of them have been inside. One of them hasn't. Which is, you know, what is that? That's 60%.
Yeah.
Right. You know, out of the brothers. And I think as much as I hate it and I don't want to see my brothers in a bad position in life ever, like that's not what I want. But like it's actually done so much for myself. Like it's put me in a mindset and a space, and especially losing dad at such a young age, you have to mature a lot quicker, like way quicker.
100%.
I'm not saying I'm like the most mature person. I was the most mature person in class. Like I was a class clown, but still had that. I still had those correct values that were instilled in me at a young age to do the right thing. And like, you know, like I might have been a class clown, but outside of that, I still made sure I got enough done to get me through. You know what I mean? Like I worked hard enough in that regard.
Yeah.
And, you know, like just seeing them, like I'd go visit them. Absolutely. I still do go visit them, but it's just sort of like, it is hard because I don't feel any pain on me. Like it's all their fault. Like they've put themselves in that situation. And I think that's a hard thing for them to understand, is that I don't have any remorse for them because I haven't done it. I haven't put them in that situation. You know what I mean? Like they've done it to themselves. You know what I mean? And like another thing, like with my dad passing away, this sounds so horrible, and I've said it to a lot of people. I might have even said it, you know, just after a run, a BY80 run. Like dad passing away is a blessing in disguise as well, because, you know, my dad was a part of a motorcycle club, that sort of stuff. He was down that avenue, and like from where it was back then, all good. Like it was real good culture. I don't know much about it nowadays, but nowadays, if you want to join a motorcycle club, you're pretty much signing your life away, like for the rest of your life. And like my dad passing away, blessing in disguise, because who knows, I could have gone down that route. You know what I mean? And
well, your dad's a superhero, and my dad's my superhero.
Yeah.
And had he be doing that sort of thing, then it's like, that's what I want to do.
Absolutely. And I feel like being such a young age when he passed away, I didn't have that instilled in the brain yet to know what he was doing and you know, that sort of stuff. Like my dad was more than just my dad. Start that off. Sorry, my dad was more than just like riding bikes with a bunch of mates. You know, he was a karate instructor. He was a truck driver. He was a swimming instructor. He did heaps of stuff. Like my dad was a genuine superhero. Like he was, but when you're at the age of 9 and 17 and 19 and 21, like my other brothers, when they passed away, they've seen enough. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like they want to follow in the footsteps of the Crawford name. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, no, I want to do my own thing. You know what I mean? So
it's almost like a because you never get to hear him physically tell you that he's proud of you and that he's acknowledging what you're doing. Because I mean, dude, if you strip back all of the business, all of the black ink, all of the everything, all of the community, all the things I try and build, it's to impress my dad.
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think if you remove the fact that you're never going to have him hear, you're never going to hear him tell you these words of acknowledgement and respect and value.
Yeah.
That there always might be an invisible dragon they're going to chase.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, by you being that age and not really having that memory of who he was and not having those real, like, you know, pinnacle 10th birthday moments and, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I've got, like, you know, like there's still VHS, you know, out there of, like, you know, trips to Broome. Like I turned one on the side of the road in Broome, You know what I mean? Like that was my first birthday.
Yeah.
I think we'll go into a bike show, you know, and there's
classic.
Yeah, and there's videos of me on like the bike show's about to start, and they go, "Who's put all these fingerprint marks on the tank?"
Yeah,
it's just me, hands on the tank. You know what I mean? Licking them and stuff. So you know, like little things like that, and you know, those videos of old boy holding me, like I've got photos, like
the one that comes to mind, I think you post it every year on his birthday, the big bloody handlebar mustache.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the one. So there's so many like that, you know what I mean? Like and you know, like even him not being here, he's done so much, you know, like I don't need to, what I figured in the last probably, this has taken me a while, but like the last probably 2-3 years, I don't have to impress anyone, like anyone. Like I don't have to put any, I don't have to impress my mum. I don't have to impress my dad. I don't need to be, you know, I'm just need to worry about myself. Like that's it. I need to worry about myself. And if I think I'm doing the right thing, then cool. And then I got to wrap myself around mates that if I am in the wrong, they'll pull me up on it.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like
that's a real coming of age thing as well.
Yeah.
And like you are in the middle of it. What'd you say? You're 26?
26, yeah.
Yeah. So like I would say 25 to 30 is when you start getting out of that, like sort of like when a dog's in the ocean and they're completely wet and then they come out and they shake it all off.
Yeah.
Like 18 to 25 is in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then 25 to 30, you're starting to like shake it off and you go, hang on, I don't like that cunt. I really like this person. I really like this hobby. That doesn't serve me anymore. And you start picking and choosing. And in that, you start going like, oh, I'm me.
Yeah. And like, I find surrounding myself around people, like, this is just an example. Like yesterday we went on a run.
Yeah.
We did the BY80 run and I was feeling really good on the run, you know what I mean? Like I was feeling really good. And I just left the pack and just kept running because I've never felt that good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like in the moment I felt like sort of bad because I sort of discarded the rest of the crew that were running at a certain pace. I just was like, I'm going to go. Like, won't be doing many BY80 runs from now on, things like footy's back. Yeah. So I was like, if I'm going to, like, I want to get something out of this one today because I feel really good. And, you know, like, I think the thing I was very happy with was George and Aiden. They weren't happy with me. They weren't. And I think the thing I was happiest about was that they didn't just sort of hold it in and be like,
shut up. Yeah.
George let me know straight away. Yeah. And so did Aiden. And like that, I couldn't ask for better mates. Yeah. Like doing that, I'd rather them just be open and honest and be like, nah, that wasn't cool. Like you should have said, George said, like you should have said something beforehand or during the run. Shouldn't have just gone. And I said, yep, nah, my bad. Like I apologise. Like sorry, it's in the past. Like, let's move on. Straight to the coffee shop.
Yeah, and back into it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you just get stuff over and done with. You know, like I'm just sick of that sort of like, oh, you know, like just holding it in and then go gossip to one of the other.
It's the worst thing, dude. It's like sewing TNT into your back pocket and hoping it doesn't explode.
Exactly.
You know, we had a bit of a moment in Japan. I'm not sure if you heard about it.
Nah.
I'm not going to divulge the entire story on a podcast, but it was essentially like a long drawn out, you know, over the period of like 7 hours or 8 hours, like experience that was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
And then when I woken up in the morning, I was just fucking, fuck you, you're a cunt, disrespectful, this, that, the other, and he's, I don't know say who it is, but he's gone, you know, like, well, how's about fuck you too then?
Yeah.
You know, you're making me feel like a criminal, this is bullshit, I said, oh, we need to find you accommodation, I'm not dealing with this,
Yeah.
And sat down, and like, I don't have any brothers. I don't know how to deal with these situations realistically, you know, and especially when like I can deal with like, you know, your average, I can deal with a customer going off at me. I can deal with dad going off at me, but like they're two ends of the spectrum. When it's someone that you choose to love, your friends, your close friends that you're in Japan with.
Yeah.
We're not escaping each other right now, even if we want to.
You can't go anywhere.
Right? Yeah. So in that moment, I've just sat down, eyes forward, just like, I'm just going to outstare this cunt. And then he comes and sits down next to me and puts his arm around me and tells me he's sorry and that he loves me.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, fuck you. It's like, all right, buddy, come on. Come back in.
Yeah.
You know?
And
like dude, it's making me fucking get it. Like I'm getting goosebumps and tears in the back of my eye thinking about it now because that's what a fucking real friend is.
Those 2 words as well, like love you, or 3 words, I love you, like they mean so much. Like I don't think a lot of people understand how much they mean to like just anyone. Like every time I'm on the phone to a mate, of course your mum and dad, you're gonna hang up the phone and you're gonna say I love you. Yeah, you know what I mean. But like I don't think we do it enough with our mates.
100%.
Like our friends and stuff like that. Like, I'm really a really close friend of mine, Aidan Clark. Like, we call each other once a week.
Yeah,
at least. He lives in Perth. You know, sometimes he comes down. We'll go for a swim or something like that. Or he'll come train, or we'll make sure we do something together when he's down. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, we're on the phone, have a yarn, half an hour, 5 minutes. Could be a 2-minute chat. Could be an hour chat.
Yeah,
we're just on the phone, AirPods in. At the end of every single chat, it's I love you.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, and
solidify it.
Yeah, it's just sort of like, you know, it makes you feel sort of like, not that you should ever need to feel it, but it makes you feel like sort of like wanted and
connected to something.
Connected to something. So, you know, we've got.
I think that's almost a fallacy in itself. I think there's this like, because of Instagram or because of Facebook and because we can like pick up our phone and feel connected to something, you know, I send a snap to you or our group chat and such responds, and then this person says that, and then this person's calling me. Can you believe it's like, oh, we don't really need this like human to human connection. Yeah. We have this third party that connects all of us now. So we only really have to love that and have love come back from that. Yeah. But I think it's I know it's an essential part of the human being to be part of something, to be connected to a greater thing. Yeah. So I'm a community with the people who live on my street. Yeah. I know them by name. Yeah. You know, you saw me when we walked out the front before. Neighbour, how are you, mate? Yeah, good. You know? So we have love for each other. We have care for each other, you know? Cup of flowers type shit.
Exactly, yeah.
Then there's BY80. Like we all commit to each other at 5:30 on a Saturday morning. Yeah. Which means a lot to boys our age, because that means Friday night, what are you not doing?
Yeah, we're not going out. We're not drinking.
Right.
We're probably just in bed by 8:30.
And if you do go out, you still better come.
Yeah, exactly.
You still better come.
Or there better be a reason behind not coming.
Yeah. And then it's like, you know, you then expand off that. Then you've got all the boys pretty much, you know, the lion's share of that group went to Japan together. Yeah. Which is, talk about a commitment. How do you make that happen?
You're going to a completely different country, completely different like language barrier, all that sort of stuff.
Dude, and you're all leaning on each other, you know? Yeah. And I think when you try and there's something in that like 20 to 30 year old period as a man, I think you really do want to beat your chest and say, I don't need anyone. Yeah. You know, but the reality is you actually really need your friends, and you need to have good friends. Yeah. Because they're your average.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need that core group, and you know, like I haven't lost like I think over the last like year or two, I've sort of like moved myself away from a large group of people. But I'm not friends with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're just doing different stuff. That's all it is. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, like I know there's friends out there that don't agree. But that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to be your friend. Like, you don't have to agree with everything that we do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, like I'm on this like sort of journey of the last probably 2 months, just around 2 months of just trying to really get my body in a state of sort of back to normal. Yeah. After the last year of, you know, like I won a premiership. I went to Europe for 5 weeks, you know, like I ruined my body. Like last year, 2024 was like a year where I just was like, fuck it. Yeah. Like just ruined my body. And I feel horrible for it. But now I'm like, I need to do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, and only one person can do something about it. And that's yourself. You know what I mean? So like, you know, surrounding myself with people that want to run. Yeah. That's hard to find. Yeah. And
also when you do find it, it's an easy win.
Yeah, and not only hard to find, but hard to find that have got the same social battery. Yeah. Actually love hanging out with them and love doing all the same sort of things. Like 2 things I love is like running, footy, and 3 things, and coffee. Like I love coffee. Like, I think it's such a good way to bring people together.
Preach, baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and even like, you know, our local Barlow down the road, you know, like I got you a coffee this morning.
Yeah.
There was no intention for me to get you a coffee.
Yeah.
I was getting myself one. And Mia was like, oh, what are you up to? I said, oh, I'm going to catch up with Jake. She's like, oh, I'll make him a coffee. You know what I mean?
Unreal.
Like, that sort of stuff just puts a smile on my face. Like, that's bringing people together again. You know what I mean? Like,
met each other in the cup, they say.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you've done some work for them.
Yeah.
Like they've been on your podcast. Like, it's just people with the same interests and all that sort of stuff. Like,
dude, I think because we're very similar like that. Like, I'm very much like my friends group, my push bike, my business to a certain extent. I also like business as a male is something that's very easily turns into your hobby.
Yep.
And when it turns into your hobby, it puts actual space between your friends and your family and all that. So like my business is a machine that I enjoy oiling, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yep.
But my coffee, because obviously like I've got a very weird metaphorical physical relationship with coffee because I had a coffee van.
Yeah.
Which created this community, which created this need to be able to converse in an appropriate manner. Yeah. So I need to be able to have a 25-second conversation. And then I also need to be able to have like an hour-long conversation where you're sitting down with the business owner and you're shooting the shit, you're doing all this. And I did all this at like between 21 and 24, 25. Yeah. Now that has manifested into this, having a podcast. And now I'm finding this like, you highlighted it perfectly. The reason that I have such a good connection with those girls is because I had them on the podcast when they went from a caravan to a shop.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like when, I'm not sure who the original... You might even know who the original Brekkie Rap inspirer was.
I actually don't know.
Right?
But what I can say is that when the BY80 first started, before it was even called BY80, we were just trotting.
Well, it was Run Club Name Pending.
Yeah, that's it. But I always go for a swim. In the morning. And then I started.
Oh, that's right. And we fucking.
And then I started seeing you. So I was like, oh, what are you doing? They're like, oh, we're starting to go for runs and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, this was during footy season, so it was more like, oh, I can't commit to a run, but I'm always going to be here at the same time for a coffee. Sometimes I'd have the coffee first, and then you would go, and then we just go our separate ways. It's not like I'd just hang out with you. And then I was like, no, I'll start coming for runs, and I was down tremendous. Like I was struggling to get through 3-4K.
Yeah.
And and that that's another thing with George. And like they're like, mate, we stuck with you when you were struggling, and then you just go yesterday. You know what I mean? It's like
you lost 6 kilos, and now you're better than us.
Yeah. So like sort of maybe sort of think of it a little bit, which was sort of like a bit of a fair enough. Like
I think it's an okay thing if you just say, hey, I'm feeling myself, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I just didn't do that yesterday.
Because I think the big thing is George would have gone with you, because George is holding himself back on every run.
Yeah, I just felt I felt a little bit bad only because like Dan was on the run. And like he's only his second one with this, you know what I mean? And
and he said it was the longest run he's ever done.
Yeah, but like
we also had, we had a team yesterday.
Yeah,
but Lowy.
I feel like kind of happy that I did it though, because if I didn't just go off, like I never told them to follow me. You know what I mean? Like they could have gone their standard route, but they just followed me anyway. But then that was Aiden's longest run ever. That was Dan's longest run ever.
Yeah.
Like we were only going to do like 5-6K, and I was like, well, why not do? I really wanted to do 10.
I think there was a couple of times where we fucked each other up, because even didn't I make a turn that I wasn't meant to, and everyone's like, oh, now we've got to go. Yeah,
well, I just run past you and I said, look, I'm going this way at the lighthouse, and you boys can go right if you want.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we usually go.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, I said, you boys can go right.
Yeah.
I was already 20 metres ahead. I was like,
you did it fucking 3 times. You did it at the end of the road at the beach. You're like, they're normally going to turn right here. I'm going to keep going. You're like, what's a couple more Ks? You said that to me, and I was like, fucking don't ask me.
Yeah, but like to them, like I get it. Like I get why they're a little bit frustrated, but that's cool. Like we're over it now. You know what I mean? Like no point dwelling on it. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, mate, these boys do 9K yesterday. Like, how many times are they going to say they've done 9K? Like for blokes that aren't runners.
You created a knowledge that they can do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, and that was never the intention, like not at all. But now that it's happened, it's sort of like, well, cool. Like, Aiden's been speaking about wanting to do 10 for a long time.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on a BY80, but like we were close yesterday. You know
How's
what I mean?
well, I did 10 because I actually fucked off and did hills in the meantime.
On the bike.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Every time I go past a hill, I'm like, oh, she's calling me. You know?
So just like, you know, you and Gage sort of just went off for a bit, which was cool, and then you come back, you know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff. So
you know, Coop and Lowy did Jetty Road to the end as well, and then caught back up.
Yeah, so that's
and then Lowy popped a sprint at the end.
Yeah, so like, you know, like I because I run past them obviously because I went up to the end of the jetty, then
everyone looped back with you.
And that's when I figured they weren't too impressed with me. So I thought, well, I just got to double down here and just be like, look, I'm in the zone.
Yeah,
Let me go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And then I remember hearing Lowy going, no, we'll go up, type thing. So
I can't believe they caught back on. That's such a good effort.
Yeah, that's a hard
especially
slot.
Coop as well. Dude, you know why Coop's motivated, don't you?
Yeah, the wheels.
Yeah,
tires.
dollar for dollar.
Yeah, like, and that's such a good incentive as well. You know what I mean? Like, and that's such a good thing about George. You know what I mean? Like George, you know, if he really wanted to, he could just be like, here you go, have this. He's like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm going to incentivize it. Like, I want you to be a better person. And like, you know, like George is a fit fella.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've only really known George really well for probably the last 12 months. Like, we're the same age, didn't go to the same school, didn't do any of that. So we're not, like, we weren't super close and we knew each other, but we didn't know, like, we don't know each other, you know.
You and I are the blow-ins of that group, you know that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, Gage is my +1, and I think I'm like Aiden and George's +1.
And I'm just there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just happened to be at the beach going for
actually, yeah, because you're like, the thing that I first struggled to wrap my head around, I'm like, where do you fit into this? Because you've got your complete own orbit.
Yeah.
You know, you got your footy club.
Yep.
You know, you've got obviously your mates outside of your footy club, and like, I got fucking. I had a weird run-in with a footy boy in my early years. So anyone to do a footy, I'm kind of like, fuck you.
Yeah,
you can,
absolutely. You know? Yeah, and like, there's a stigma behind footy boys, and there is, and like
pissing on each other and that.
I mean, yeah, but like, you know, like there is a stigma, and 9 times out of 10, it's true. You know what I mean? But that is definitely changing nowadays, and like, I look at it in a way like female footy is a huge factor in that, and like a lot of people won't agree with me, but like that'll do a lot. That'll do a lot for just football in general, country football, seeing AFL football, you know, that sort of stuff. Like the amount of people that whinge and complain about the state of AFLW.
Yep.
It's like, give them a chance. Like, it's only been going for 10 years. Like, could you imagine what men's AFL was like so the first official like grand final was in like 1899 or something like that. Could you imagine what footy was like in 1910? Like, it would have been horrible.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been horrible. Like, football was made from a warm-up. It was a cricket warm-up.
Really?
That's sort of how it started. Like, it was cricket, and they wanted to warm their bodies up. So they had like this oval-shaped footy, and they just kick it around. Then it sort of became a sport, like a lot earlier than 1899. It was more like, I think the first football club was Melbourne Football Club, which was established in 1858.
Yep.
So I know a little bit about history and all that sort of stuff, but that's just from being a nuffy kid from when I was younger. But, you know, that, like, we don't think broad enough about the women's game because right now it's not very good to watch, and a lot of people go like, "Oh yeah, like it's not good." Blah blah blah. Blah. It's like, give it a chance. Like, maybe if we deliberately put more eyes on it, it means more value goes into it, which means more resources go into it, which means the players get better.
Yeah,
and like, I stand by it now. I went to a juniors game probably 2 years ago, and a good friend of mine, Zach Atkinson, was a junior coach.
Yeah.
And he's like, could you come down and give me a hand? I said, yeah, no worries, come give you a hand. We were at a ground that's got 4 or 5 ovals, and I was on helping him, but I turned around and there's a girls' game on, and it's probably year 7s,
Yeah.
6s. There's girls kicking lace out, like hitting targets, like very nicely. Like they're actually like, you know, like playing well. They're handballing well, like, and they're year 6, year 7. Imagine them in 10 years' time.
Well, that's exactly right.
Like,
because women's AFL has been around for 8 years now. 10 years.
Like I'd probably go 10 years. Yeah, like properly. Yeah, probably like 10 years.
At the same time I exited skating, a Australian female speed skater who was, I mean, she was dominating her field, like left, right and centre.
Yeah.
I don't think she ever medalled at World Championships, but all European Cups and that, she was like not just beating them by fucking ages.
Yeah.
She transferred to women's AFL and like immediately got drafted immediately. I think she played for, couldn't tell you, maybe an orange and black team.
Oh, Giants.
Something.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
that's
whatever.
the orange and black team, but yeah.
So she immediately transferred as like from a professional speed skater to a paid women's AFL athlete. I remember thinking like, that's really cool. That's really cool because the problem with skating is you're never going to get paid.
Yeah.
Outside of, you know, the Australian Institute of Sport's never going to recognise you even if you go to the Winter Olympics. Like you get the same thing that everyone else gets when they go to the Winter Olympics, but you're never going to get that like, you know, you hear of Americans going to the Olympics and they're paid for the time period that they're at the Olympics.
Yeah, it's all based on like sponsorship.
Right.
Yeah, like,
it's entirely sponsorship. So if you're really good at marketing yourself, if you're somehow an amazing athlete and a good marketer, cool. But if you're just a normal fucking athlete who's kind of, you know, I don't want to say autistic, but so good at being an athlete because you can actually cancel out of the rest of your life. You're like, all I do is diet, exercise, compete, and be a bad motherfucker on race day.
You won't,
right?
It's not good for marketing. You're not going to make
No. You're like, that's why you're good, is because you can cancel out all of your friendships, all of your. So her going into women's AFL, you're like, well, this is fucking awesome. The problem is she spent 21 years before that being a speed skater.
Yeah. She probably doesn't know how to, like, probably doesn't know how to kick the footy properly. Like,
correct.
Like that's just how it is. That's how it was.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, they did that a lot at the start of the AFLW. They brought in a lot of cross-code athletes to just bring the athletic side of things to it, because football's not just kick, handball.
Dude, it's like anything. It's like anything.
Everything's evolved into becoming like it's an athlete sport. Like yesterday at Hands, that's just run and gun. You got blokes running 16, 17 Ks a game.
That's nuts.
Like, and the way I look at it, coach told me once, blokes running 15 Ks a game, you got 30 disposals. Game goes for 120 minutes. Every disposal, you probably have the ball in your hand for maximum 5 seconds.
Wow.
5 times 30 is 150 seconds. What's that? 2.5 minutes?
Yeah, 2.5 minutes in a 120-minute game.
2.5 minutes, you have the footy in your hand. So for the amount of effort you put in, you have to be pretty much perfect for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like 2.5, it's so much, it goes down to so much. Like it's so minuscule, but like, you know, you only have the ball in your hand for like, you might even, you know, there's times where I played senior footy, like played league at Souths. I'm on the ground for 10 minutes of the whole game. Like, I might get one touch.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that because everyone plays a role. Everyone's got a role in the team. My role is to play 10 minutes, give a burst to one of our gun players that needs a breather.
Yeah.
Crawf, you going for 2 minutes, just give everything you got for 2 minutes, back off. Yep, done. No worries. Like, that's my role. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So everyone's got different role, and that's just how it is.
I think just to round out my point before, as good as Brooke was, you imagine that same amount of energy being spent for 10 years from the age of, say, 12 to now 22, and that theoretical person is now entering the women's AFL, the sort of skill difference. You know, like, I'm really good at printing shirts, motherfucker. I'm brilliant at skating. I've been skating my whole life. I'm good at making shirts. I'm good at uniforms and all the stuff I've been doing for 6 years now. I'm fucking astronomical on wheels because that's what I grew up doing.
That's what you trained.
So your women's AFL now, you've now seen, I mean, those year 7, like you said, those year 7s in 10 years' time, they're going to be a different weapon compared to the girl who's been, kicking the ball around for 5 years or 2 years.
And it's like, it's honestly based on your motor skills. Like, you're throwing, you're catching, you're marking, you're kicking. if you learn that, it's a lot easier to learn at a young age because you've got more tolerance to mistakes.
You have more neuroplasticity. You have more ability to learn at that age.
Yeah, so when you're 20, so when you're in your 17, 18, 19, learning to kick a footy,
yep,
you get more frustrated because you've got more knowledge on, like, I should be able to do this, but I can't. Like, why can't I do this? Like,
yeah.
And it gets to a point where you get so frustrated. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And, yeah, so that's my little take on the AFLW. Like, just give it some time. Like, it will be a good, like, a lot of people carry on about like, the Matildas and the Oz cricket, the women's cricket team. The women's cricket team's actually very good viewing. You know what I mean? Like, that's good to watch as well. You know what I mean? So it's just all about time. Like, give it some time. It'll be a spectacle. Yeah. And they go hard at the footy. They go so hard at the footy. Like, they tackle hard. Like, it's not just like a few chicks just hitting hard. They fucking go hard. Like, good to watch.
There's something there. This is not a fleshed out thought, so it might be just total rubbish. But I think so, like, there's a lot of elements at play, and one of the elements that maybe isn't thought so much about is the fact that we live in a super over-sexualized society.
Yep.
Right? So if you want to know, and I can tell you this as someone who creates and posts content, it's easier to get someone to like a video and to watch it to the end if it's got tits and a burnout in it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if we take the tits out, we get less people watching. We take the burnout out, we got less people watching. For me to get a reel that does 20,000 views and it's just me and a mate talking, it must be so fucking interesting because of the fact that it doesn't have sexuality in it, right? So that's our footnote, right? Sexuality is a very key player in today's attention-seeking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So then you go, all right, when we talk about sexuality, typically we're talking about the male attraction to the female figure.
Yeah.
That's what I say when sexuality is on the table. Now, you're asking a typically male-populated sport, and the audience is typically male. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of females who watch football, but typically, this is a very male-oriented game and audience.
Yeah.
Now you're asking those same people to be like, hey, look at these females. Now, these males are the same males that are sexualizing the sexual audience of these things on social media. So you're asking the male to perceive this, like, you're like, in a way, subconsciously, you're saying, well, that's a sexual being, you know? And I mean, I could admit this as a male. I'm not sure if you're happy to admit this on camera, but most of your life as a male is trying to fight the demon that is sexualizing everything that happens around you.
Yeah. Oh, I think if you don't admit it to a degree, you're just lying to yourself.
You're lying to yourself, and you're lying to the people around you.
And you're lying to the people around you. Like,
so we're trying to now take seriously these beings that we are like fighting internally to sexualize and saying like, oh no, they're actually trying to get the ball through the goals. Yeah. You know? It's one of those things because there's so many different levels of the female game. Like, you know, like the country footy, we got like in our comp, like it's not like the score might be 6-15. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what draws people to footy is the score. You know what I mean? Like goals and that sort of stuff. So when that's not happening, it's very hard to keep interested in the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, but then on the contrary to that, you get a good game of soccer and it'll be 1-2.
Exactly. Yeah. You know? So, but they're still learning. You know what I mean? Like they're still like, you just got to give them a chance.
I think you're right. It's time.
Yeah, it's just a time thing. Like we'll get to a stage, you know, like, and it's starting to happen. Like a friend of mine, Ella Smith, she won like I think she won the best and fairest for the state league comp in the waffle in the women's state comp, and then she got picked up by West Coast, played a few games at West Coast, you know, got herself out there as an AFLW player, and then she finished up. She had a year off. And now she's playing for Donnybrook.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So, like, her alone, she's bringing the game into a better place, just having her skill, knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's only that's gonna be the start. That's only the start. Like, and we've had Katie Grieve, who she got picked up by Carlton, like, right at the start of the AFL. And then she went to Freo. I think she's been at Busso for the last few years.
Yeah.
But just having that knowledge of, like, someone who's played at the highest level, just having that makes you a better player straight away. It's the same with my team. I've got a bloke called Tom Gorder. He got drafted by West Coast. Just his knowledge, you don't have to take everything he says, but you can just take a pinch of it and just use that every day.
Yeah.
As in a game sense, makes me a better player.
Dude, it's the exact same in business.
Yeah.
I reference this one mentor on almost every podcast, but it's because every time I sit down with him, my business gets 1% better.
Yeah.
Because where I'm dealing with problems here, he's dealing with problems here. And that just, by default, when you look at how big he's thinking and how big he's moving and the conversations and deals and that he's doing, it's like, oh, I need to step up.
Yeah.
And not even that I need to step up in a pressure way. It's like, I want to step up,
Yeah.
Because why would I worry about moving pebbles when he's moving mountains? I can at least take on bucket loads at a time now if I want.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's that whole average lifting you up thing.
Yeah. And it's all like, it's crazy. Everything's based, like everything comes back full circle, like in life, like whether it's footy, I use my footy skills in a work environment as well, and I use some of my work environment stuff in a footy sense. You know what I mean? Like everything comes back around at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like,
that's again a coming of man thing.
Yeah,
being able to go like, the better I am at communicating with my customers, the better I am at communicating with my fiance, the better I'm communicating with my friends, with my dad, and then the better I am at executing these tasks that I said. I don't want to say it's the same amount of importance. It's a different amount of importance. But if you come to me and say, I need 50 work shirts, right? That is as important to me as, hey, Jake, we're going for a walk tomorrow with Louis and I want you to be there.
Yeah.
Right? So the better I am at delivering to you on time, the better I am to delivering to my fiance on time, the better I am at being the best possible version of me that is. Yeah. And the really good thing I think about footy is it's a great vehicle for learning those skills.
Yeah. Like I'm so in debt to my footy club. Like they got me my job that I'm in now. You know what I mean? Like, and then that it always leads to more. You know what I mean? Like I've spoken about this before, but like my the bloke who taught me pretty much everything I know, he, like, if I didn't get the job, then I would never have met him. And then I saw him as a bit of a father figure, at work. You know what I mean? Like just older. He was, I think when I started, so I would have been 22 or 21 when I started. He was 60.
Wow.
He was still pushing glass.
Still doing his thing.
Still doing his thing. You know what I mean? And so he had like 45 years of knowledge.
Yeah.
That I just had to be like, right, I've got to get as much out of you as I can.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make me better at my job.
Yeah, get all the mistakes he's made and learn them.
Yeah, and then, he goes. So he's not glazing anymore. He's doing some other stuff. And then another guy comes in, and I've got a workmate now, name's Chris Pym. The amount I've learnt off him, and that's just like I don't think he understands this, but the amount he's done for me as well, like not just from a work aspect, but like he's got a family, he's got 2 kids, all that sort of stuff. Like he just like he's so committed to his family, but he also like I kind of see him as a bit of like a sort of just like that older brother sort of not. He gets on my nerve. He knows it. Yeah. But he knows when to stop. And then, I'm the same. I get on his nerve. We work together a lot, and he knows when if he's not having a good day, I've got to put in that. So it's 100% in any friendship, relationship. Yeah. If he can't give 50, he can only give 30, then that's me giving like 70. I've got to step up, so I've got to give the 70. And that's how. I think that's why we've got such a good relationship as well. And like, I don't think he understands how important he is to me at work. Cause I go to work, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm working with Chris today. Like, it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. You know what I mean? So
there's definitely that. I think with all good sort of bonds, like I know I have this with Rhys, and like especially with like George and Aiden and that. I know we're referencing them a lot, but they're like my closest friends. Yeah. Gage is very much as well. When one person's crazy, the other person tends to be neutral. Yeah. And I mean, hopefully when Gage and I get on camera, both of us are crazy. That's the best thing. Yeah. But there's definitely that like diffusion of craziness is probably not the right word, but like that you know, your glass is full, mine's empty, and then together we just, you know, and it's like when Rhys is having a rough day, it's like I'm usually having a good day, and I can be like, you know, it's all right.
Have some of this.
It's chill, you know. And then when I'm fucking, you know, in the dumps, and then she can see that, it's like that thing. I dread the day that we're both having a bad day, but
hopefully it doesn't come.
They happen as well, though. I mean,
absolutely. You know, like, and you know, like just going back to like that crew as well. Like, I went to school with Gage. Me and Gage were a lot of the same classes together and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's not one thought ever that I was going to be running.
Yeah. Bizarre.
He's going to be running with me or on the bike. You know what I mean? Like, there was not one thought of that ever. Like, I thought year 12 finished, we both graduated. I'll probably never see Gage again. Or I'll probably might walk past him, wouldn't, you know, maybe. How you doing? And like, you know, it's just like going back to these full circle moments. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I know like Courtney from Barloo.
Yep.
Same year at school. I don't know if we had any classes together. Like maybe.
Yep.
Oh shit! There was someone else. Courtney. There was someone else I was just thinking of, and I was like, I actually went to school with them as well. But yeah, you're exactly right. Not once do you think that A, I'm going to have a podcast, and B, she's going to be on it. And then we see them every Saturday morning. Yeah. You ever thought, I love the economics of relationships, but how much money we've given to Barloo?
I don't want to know how much coffee I've spent there.
Yesterday, just between yesterday and today, there's 13 brekkie wraps and like probably the same amount of coffees.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, we had eight of us yesterday.
And got 11 brekkie wraps.
11 brekkie wraps yesterday, 2 today. 2 coffees today as well.
Yeah.
Like that helped. Like, you know, and the thing is with me, when I started going there, like I live in Eton.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is
actually my local. It's not your local.
Yeah, like, and I go there, like, because I appreciate the coffee, but I just appreciate the people that work there too. Like, like they are the nicest people. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, Mia will take out time just to speak to you. Like, she doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's a part of the job, like speaking to people, and you know, Courtney doesn't have to, like, but they do it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and that just sort of gives me a bit even more reasoning. And like the people you meet, like, you know, I've been going there they've been there for just over 2.5 years, maybe just under 2.5 years. The people I've met just going to that coffee shop is just like, I can't.
Fucking Acco. I went to school with Acco.
Acco. Yeah. So like the people you meet, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like
just crossing paths all the time.
I'll go to the coffee shop and I'll be having yarns with blokes in their 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
And we've never met each other before.
But you're shooting shit.
But we go to the same coffee shop, so it's like we just have a yarn. We just have a conversation, you know what I mean? Like, there's an old couple. Actually, we never introduced ourselves to each other. But they come every once in a blue moon, and I'll be sitting out there having a coffee, might be on my laptop or something, and then they'll park up as well, and then we'll just start talking about the most random stuff. But it's just sort of like you leave there and go, that was good. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel a bit of like connection to nothing really, like, because you don't know them, but like you just feel this sort of like connection, like,
dude, you feel like you belong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just sort of like, oh, like weights off your shoulders, sort of like you're in that flow state. You're in a flow state. You're just sort of like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, you forget about all your issues. You know, like,
I must admit, I have a I'm not sure. Yeah, you probably did see it yesterday. So we went to the markets after our coffee.
Yep.
We got like 5 minutes in, and I had been stopped to talk to, like, I don't know, 3 people.
Yep.
Like the first one was like a bloke you used to drive trucks with. Then the second one was like, oh, I saw your podcast with such and such. I follow you on Facebook and Instagram. Yep. My name's such and such. This is our store. Right.
The patch joint. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
Right. And then you go a bit further up, you've got the candle lady.
Yep.
You know, and then just like at the same time, I'm walking around, and in that particular moment, I'll be honest, I'm avoiding eye contact with everyone because I'm there with 5 dudes that I want to hang out with, and they're the 5 dudes I want to talk to. Yep. And, you know, sometimes I get a little bit shitty and I'll go like, just fucking leave me alone.
Yeah.
But you know what the contrast of that situation is? No one talking to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know which one I'd rather? I'd rather strangers come up and be like, my name's such and such, and I saw your podcast and all this, because at the end of the day, as much as I don't want to have that conversation at that point, I still get that belonging feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And you're just sort of like, you know, you could meet someone and then in 10 years' time they could be one of your best mates.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's one of those things like you could meet someone yesterday and they're invited to your wedding. It's like, you know, to be invited to someone's wedding means a lot to someone.
Huge.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's a commitment. That's also a commitment. You know what I mean? Like, committing, bringing you to probably the most important day of my life.
Yeah.
To enjoy it with me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much you mean to me. You know what I mean? So, like, it's one of those things, you know, like, and like, yesterday was like my perfect day. Like that's my perfect morning.
Yeah, game of AFL in Bunbury.
Yeah, or not even that. Like going for a run in the morning with the boys. Going and get a coffee straight after.
Yeah, swim, coffee.
Sitting down, spinning yarns, and we're just sort of bouncing off each other. And then we're like, oh, the markets are on. Let's go to the markets.
Yeah.
Then we go to the markets, and then we're at the markets, and we're just walking around, and then you know you boys have gone and. You know, George loves his rings and all that sort of stuff, and you know, he gets caught looking at shiny stuff.
Yeah,
and then you know, Aiden's looking at pearls, and then me, Loey, and Coops are playing Jenga.
Start the game of Jenga. Even when we rocked up, it's like they got the cornhole game, and we're all playing hacky sack with it. And it was like not even. It's like unspoken. It's like one person started kicking it, and just a circle forms, and we're all got the shoes off, and we're hopeless.
Yeah, absolutely hopeless,
but doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just giving it a go. Like, imagine if, you know, like. Imagine if it just like worked. Imagine if we all just started
doing the thing.
Just doing the thing. Like it just started. It looked really cool when people started watching us. Like, you just never know. Like,
I like you see those situations happening to other people, and you kind of get a bit like not jealous or envious, but you're like, I wish I was part of something. And then when you're part of something and you're doing it, you're like, this is why in that moment, I'm not jealous of those people. I'm jealous of the fact that I don't have that. And then when you have got that, you're like, this feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I have a bit of that issue. You see it a lot. And then, but when I'm in it, I'm thinking of that. So like, I'm like, I'm in this moment now. Like, that's probably where a bit of overthinking comes into it for myself. Like, worked on it a lot. Overthink going, don't fuck up this moment because this is quite wholesome. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you know what the trick there is, and this I'm speaking as your senior of 150 years right now.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Concentrate on the hacky sack.
Yeah. And like, you know, definitely working on that. Absolutely. Like everyone's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Every single person's a work in progress. And like one thing I stand by, my principal in my primary school, Mr. Johnson, probably, I don't know if you're listening to this, but he had a quote that he said in year 6 when I was in year 6, and it stuck by me for my whole entire life. Practice makes progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing's perfect in life.
Yeah, that's right.
You ever hear me rating anything? Nothing will ever be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If it's good, it'll be a 9.8, 9.9.
Yeah.
Because there's always room for improvement. There's always something you can, you know, put on top of it. Always.
Yeah. I don't think, my belief is that the definition of a flow state is to be so entrenched and ingrained in the moment that's happening that you don't have the capacity to think of anything outside of it.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm so like enamored by wheelies is that when you're doing it, you can't think of anything else.
Yeah. So focused on it.
Yeah. Especially like you want to ramp it up, do it in front of a car. You want to ramp it right up, do it in front of a car and behind another one.
Yeah.
You know, you want to ramp it up, have a girl in a bikini standing over here watching you. Now you really can't fuck up.
Pressure.
We're in a flow state, baby. Yeah. We can't not be.
Yeah.
So I think that's easy to do when your life depends on it. And it's really hard to do when you're with your friends. And we're all trying to impress each other as well.
Yeah.
We're trying to make each other laugh. We're trying to go for the, you know, like even, you know, Loey picks up the fucking hacky sack with his feet. And I'm like, Loey, give us your feet for a minute, you know? It's like we're all trying to go for that. So it's really hard to sort of be in it.
Yeah.
But as much as kicking a football is a skill, being in a flow state is a skill. It's the same as bicep curling. If you want this to grow bigger, you do this more.
Yeah.
So the more times you find yourself close to that flow state, being able to just go, I'm in a flow state, I'm not going to think about it, instead of going, I'm in a flow state, I need to stay here.
Yeah.
You know?
I always revert back to footy, but like that's my flow state, like footy training.
It has to be. You have to be in a flow state at training.
Like I'm at training, and I consider myself quite introverted, quiet person. I haven't. Maybe if I've had a few drinks, different story. Like I can get a bit rowdy, not like silly rowdy, stupid like that, but I just like a bit more vocal. But like being off the grog for X amount of time, however long it's been, like 2 months or something like that. At the moment, I find myself, there's two different versions of me. So like at footy, I'm loud, I'm vocal. I consider myself a bit more of a senior at the club.
Yeah.
So like we've got a lot of youth coming through, so I'm making sure that they are doing the right things to be in the same position that I'm at.
Yeah.
When they get to 26 years old, you know what I mean? Like, and you don't think about it until you sort of have conversations like this, like that me and you are having right now. Like, and then when I get home, I cook dinner, eat dinner, don't really speak to anyone, very quiet.
Yeah.
And then I'm off to bed, and then do the same, go to work, quite quiet, just get my job done. And as soon as I get to footy, it's like bang, righto boys, let's go, come on.
Yeah, I'm back.
Let's move. Yeah, and it's just sort of like this, and that, your flow state might not be you just being like quiet and doing your thing. Flow state can be anything, like where I'm loud, vocal, trying to get the boys up and about. We're running 10 Ks a night at training, so we're all buggered, but the voice is still there to make sure the boys are still getting the most out of training. Cause we all have the same end goal at the end of the day. We want to win.
Flow state is everything from meditating to the most extreme version of it is fucking laying on your deathbed trying not to die.
Yeah.
And it's like you've got everything in between. You've got riding, cooking, riding, like fucking riding a push bike or whatever. And then it's like all of these sort of, it's something that, you can entwine your work into it if you're a real psychopathic motherfucker, which is, it's a great, especially if you're getting paid to do something that you can do in a flow state, even better.
Yeah.
Right? But typically it's something that you want to like tie some sort of passionate part of your being into.
Yeah.
And obviously it's very easily football, and then that like trying to find that flow state as regular as possible. And like almost routinely go like, and even being a routine or a structure of it takes you out of being in a flow state. But creating an environment regularly where your flow state can happen, I think that's where you do the most amount of learning. Because when you're in a flow state, you're not thinking about who Rhys is. Rhys just is, and that is the flow state. Yeah. And then you zoom out of that and you're like, oh, when that person fell over, Rhys went and picked him up straight away.
Yeah.
That's who Rhys is.
Yeah.
I didn't think I need to go help that dude. I helped that dude.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we had just on that, like from the footy sense, picking someone up. I had a footy camp last weekend in we stayed at Point Walter in like Adderdale, Bicton area.
Yeah.
And our coach got a guest speaker come in, and he's like, guest speaker's got nothing to do with footy, like he's not a footy player, all that sort of stuff. And he Peter Hughes, I think his name was, Peter Hughes. I feel horrible if it's wrong, but he was actually in the nightclub 2002 when the Bali bombings
really
went off. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and he told us some stories, just like a little rundown. He's told us some stories about the Bali bombings, and like footy helped him so much because when you get knocked down, you just get back up. Like you have to. You can't just take a bump and fall over and just
that's you out,
and you're out of the game. You know what I mean? Like the game goes on whether you're on the ground or not. So you better get back up, otherwise you're going to be there's no use for you. You know what I mean? So that was his mentality. So he didn't know it was a suicide attack when it happened. He thought it was just like a gas leak.
Yeah, something happened.
That's gone wrong. You know what I mean? So bang, big explosions happened in the nightclub, and then he's gotten straight back up, and he's trying to walk out of this club, and he can see the door, he can see all the people outside, and on his way out, he's picking everyone up. Because it's like, you got to get up. Like we got to get up. So like he's helping, and then as he's about to leave, that's when the second bomb went off, which was outside of the venue.
In the car.
In the car. So bang, it's pretty much blown him straight back inside, and that bomb only went off at 20% of its capacity.
Yeah,
because when they were driving to the spot, they thought, let's go past the farm, grab some cow shit, and smear it all through the bomb. So when it explodes, it'll infect, and it will just create more havoc.
Yeah.
As they were smearing it through, they were pulling wires out. They didn't know what they were doing.
Classic.
So it sort of made it a weaker, the bomb was weaker. It only blew a 6 meter radius, like a big hole.
Yeah.
If it was at 100%, it would have blown a 60 meter radius.
Hectic.
You know what I mean? So like a lot more people would have passed away. 89 Australians died like that during the Bali bombings, and he reckons like the next time he woke up, like he just had a group of like 12 of them, 15 of them, and he just marched their way through, and just the footy helped him, but then even little things like a little probably 8-9-year-old girl walked up to him. This is sort of like as he's leaving the scene of the crime with a glass of water. Gives you hope.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's just sort of like that. You know, you could be like, oh, I can't do this. Like I'm done. Like my life's over.
Yeah.
And like you get this little kid giving you a glass of water. It's like, shit. Like there are people out there. Like there's hope. There's
100%.
Right.
I want to know if in that moment, I'm not saying this in a comical sense, I actually mean this, in that moment, are you thinking, is this water going to give me barley belly?
I just thought of that then. Like as I was saying it, I was like, when you're at that point, apparently I'm pretty sure like his whole calf had been blown off. So he had no calf.
Brother, I'm pretty sure this dude went on Club Good podcast, eh?
Yeah, he might have. Yeah,
this story's really...
Yeah, so I won't go too much more into the story. It's more of a story for him to tell, but like there is so much to that story like that happened. But just him coming into the club and speaking to us as a group just sort of gives you that bit more realisation on like, holy shit, like footy's not everything, you know, at the end of the day. And you know,
I think so you reference like the game a few times. The game,
yeah.
You know, it's all that the red and yellow helicopter. He's been doing circles backwards and forwards. That's not good, eh?
That's sharks, I think. Is that sharks?
At the beach, maybe.
Yeah.
And you're wearing the Bleach Club hat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to support local, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, Bleach Club, Barloo, like they're all local people starting business in Bunbury.
Yeah.
Same as yourself. Got the black ink shirts at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So
running it up.
Just running it up, just showing people sort of Bunbury and what we've got to offer. Because not a lot of people enjoy, know much about Bunbury, but it's actually an absolute gold mine.
Yeah, it is.
You're an hour and a half from Margaret River. You're 2 hours from Perth.
Yeah.
You've got the best of both worlds.
Got 100,000 people here and businesses booming left, right and centre.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's only going to get bigger. Can't get any, I don't think it can get any worse.
Yeah.
So it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, fucking oath. And hopefully we are the fucking primary podcast of Bunbury. That's my goal.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say, you know, I have done 2. This is my second podcast, which has been fucking awesome to do. The other one was more based on footy and all that sort of stuff. But this is definitely this definitely goes out to a lot of people.
I think I'm going to ramp it up as well. It was 1 podcast a week. I want to go to 2 podcasts a week.
Yeah,
I want this to be the main business.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you just get to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like you just have genuine conversations, and it's not like,
dude, this is a flow state. This is a flow state.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
I mean, obviously, that was a very unique moment where I have to really pay attention to something. But yeah, you're never thinking about what's happening before or after this.
No.
And like, you never get a chance to look at someone in their eyes and talk for an hour.
Nah.
It's crazy.
And like, especially men speaking, a lot of the time when men are trying to like out themselves and try to express themselves, you realize it's always if you think of it, it's always at like maybe a pub.
Yeah.
When you're at a bar. So you're actually never face to face with each other. You're side by side. So there's never that eye contact. And it's in heaps of places. Coffee shops, you're usually side by side.
Yeah, you can't get into it.
You can't
mix it up.
Yeah, you can't really get into it. So like if you create more areas, and even like men's shed and stuff like that, usually when you're speaking, you're doing something. So there's like, as much as they're awesome, like that's just someone doing something to create conversation between men. There's just not that eye contact, and I feel like that's so important. Like it just shows to both people that you're involved and intrigued on the conversation. Because like, could you imagine me talking to you and I'm just on my phone?
Yeah, doing this, doing that.
You know, oh yeah, cool. Like, yep, righto. Oh, sweet, cool, yeah. And then it's sort of just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and that's on us also to call them out. Like, get off your phone. Like,
yeah. I think also the back end of being able to create a space where, obviously we can be vulnerable with each other. Like, you know, you've spoken a lot today about things that you probably wouldn't just bring up in normal conversation.
No, absolutely not.
When people see that and hear that, especially with someone that they know, because it's cool watching Rogan interview Trump.
Yeah.
Right? But it's different when, you know, like there's going to be people that watch this that are your audience. There's going to be people that watch this that are my audience and don't know the other person.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be people like Gage, who knows both of us really well, and going to go like, I learned heaps about Crawf and I learned a little bit about Jake because I know Jake really well. And then that creates space in all of those people's mind to go like, who can I be vulnerable with?
Yeah.
You know, who can be vulnerable with me?
Yeah.
And then also, if I get the opportunity to actually sit down with someone and have a conversation, it's like, this is a moment where vulnerability can exist.
Yeah.
And then instead of it just being like, oh yeah, and then on the weekend and such, it's like, fucking tell me about your dad.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Tell me about this.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
And that's one thing for me as well. Like, I hope that it brings conversation. Like, this isn't me calling out to your viewers and all that sort of stuff, but like, if you see me and you've enjoyed what we've spoken about today and you just want to chat, you just want to talk, be a little bit vulnerable, whether it's about me or something you didn't know about me or something you didn't know about Jake, or, you know, like, go for it. Like, speak to me about it. Like, I'm an open book. Like, you know, at the start you ask, like, is it okay if we talk about your dad? It's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay to speak about anything. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to speak about, you know, what's going on in North Korea, I have no idea, but we can. You know.
So if you want to talk about something to do with South Bunbury Football Club, talk to this guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we can talk about anything. Like, I don't mind. Like, if you want to, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you're interested in that I've got I wouldn't say no interest, but I'm interested in learning about it, you know what I mean? Like, it's like reading a book. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're your own book, and if you want to learn a little bit about me, go for your life. Like, I'm introverted, but like, speak to me. Like, I'm happy with it.
Up for the yarn. Like, well, I'm going to put your contact, your Instagram and stuff in the description of everything, so if people want to reach out, they can.
Cool, yeah, love that.
But otherwise, if while you have the microphone for one last moment, is there anything you want to promote, talk about, direction?
I wouldn't really. I'm not big on the promoting side of things, but I do have a film page. I post film photos just on like a little camera. My camera's actually broken. It doesn't have flash, so I have to buy a new one. But I think it gives me a reason to invest in a bit more. It was just like a shitty Kodak one. $100. But I think I'm going to invest in a bit more of an old school 35mm camera. So, and I've got a little trinket.
Oh, table trinket.
Little trinket. So I actually made this. I used to be a bartender. It's got a little Danger's lager. I don't know if you remember Johnny Danger. This was his beer. I went to New Zealand like 6 years ago or something like that. I brought a carton back. Thought that'd be cool to put on it. It's actually a bottle opener.
Oh, right. Yeah, so, that's sick.
Like that. So I used to, when I was a bartender, I used this. Everyone had like the old metal. I was like, I feel like making one. So I made one. So
that's fucking sick.
Little bottle opener. So
At least we have a bottle opener should we ever have bottles on the
Exactly.
podcast.
So, yeah, sometimes it's a bit touchy, but I've got it to a good spot where I reckon it's perfect.
Oh, thank you very much. That's sick.
That's all right. So that's my little trinket to
I'm going
the
to
podcast.
put Clancy Clicks on
Thank you.
in the description,
Cool.
which
Sweet.
is the page for your film photos.
Yeah, Clancy Clicks. My mum was going to call me Clancy,
Yeah.
but decided against it.
Yeah. Awesome name, but also thank God she didn't.
Yeah,
call
thank
you
God she
Clancy.
didn't, you know what I mean? Like, so it would have been Clancy Crawford. So I thought that's a good sort of homage to the name. So Clancy Clicks. So I think it was like more the CC sort of put it. Well, sort of like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like it works together. So, so that's pretty much it. Really, that's all I do. I just like taking photos on my film.
Yeah. I think I featured on there like fucking 400% more
Yeah,
than the next person.
I reckon you're my first photo. You would have been my first photo.
Doing a wheelie as well.
Doing a wheelie. So, there's some. I try not post photos of myself on there. Like it's mainly for the people around me. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some photos of me, and if there are photos, they're usually on my account of me. So, that's I just like taking photos. And,
beautiful.
I'm always at the coffee shop if I'm in the mornings on a Saturday or a Sunday. So pop into Barlow, you'll probably see me there on my laptop.
Yeah, have a yarn,
playing around with coffee in hand. So.
Beautiful. Well, if you see Crawf, say hello. And if you see me, leave me the fuck alone. Anyway, guys, be good to your mum because we're fucking out. You.
Gotcha.